21 state attorneys general have filed a lawsuit against President Biden's executive order that stopped construction of the Keystone pipeline on day one. Joining us right now is Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen, who is leading the lawsuit along with the state of Texas. Mr. Knudsen, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So when Joe Biden sat down at the Resolute desk on day one and signed that executive order, you and 20 other states say he did not have the power to pull the plug. Explain.
You bet. Yeah. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution is very clear. Foreign and interstate commerce regulation is a power reserved to Congress, not to the president. President Obama had his chance to veto this back in 2011. This project was approved by Congress. Steve, only Congress can undo its own act. Joe Biden doesn't get to step in now 10 years later, literally 10 years later, and try to veto this project. This is something that Congress has to do, not the president.
Indeed. And Congress is the entity that regulates foreign and interstate commerce as well, which is what the Keystone Pipeline is all about.
That's exactly right. Yep, comes across the Canadian border into rural eastern Montana, where I'm from, kind of right in my backyard. This is a huge project for Montana. Almost 4,000 jobs,
right.
Conservatively $60 million a year just in property tax revenue, $130 million a year in employment benefits, wages. This was a huge project for the state of Montana, let alone the other states
right.
down the line. This really hurts Montana. And I think it shows President Biden is really just pandering to his coastal elite friends.
So ultimately, you would like to see a court say, hey, Mr. President, you can't do that. And so go ahead and open it up, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, we sent a letter to the president early on asking him to reconsider. We really never had much hope that he would do that. So at this point, we're going to ask the court system to get involved. Again, Article 1, Section 8, we think is very clear, and we think we're on good ground here.
Meanwhile, in addition to that, you and 20 other attorneys generals wrote a letter to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and you said, among other things, we ask that you confirm that the American Rescue Plan Act does not prohibit states from generally providing tax relief. Later, in the absence of such an assurance by May 23rd, we will take appropriate action as well. And what is at play here is for your state to take the money. Essentially, the federal government is saying, okay, the states can have the money, but they can't cut the taxes. And the worry is a lot of states like Montana were planning some sort of a tax cut, but now you're worried that you won't get any of the federal dough.
Well, this is a huge matter for Montana right now. Our legislature is in session right now. We only meet for 90 days every other year. We've got a total state budget of right around $10 billion as it is. So when the federal government prints money and throws $3 billion at us, but then tells us we can't use it to reduce spending or cut taxes anywhere else, that's a real problem for a state like us. So yeah, we've asked for some clarification here.
Sure, because your state has been living within its means. There are a number of states that have, but then you've got New York, which is where I am, and during COVID, they locked down and, you know, their budget deficit went through the roof. Now they're getting a bailout. Yeah,
Montana, we've got a balanced budget amendment. I mean, frankly, I think we could be an example for the country. But this is a huge matter for us because this federal stimulus money, or whatever you want to call it, is nothing but more than an attempt to get us to grow our government. Right. We don't want to grow our government. We're Republican controlled. We want to live within our means, and we'd love to provide some tax relief to our taxpayers. I think we can do that very easily here, but by definition, they're not letting us do it. Yeah. So, yeah, we've asked Secretary Yellen for some clarification.
All right. Well, when you hear back from her, let us know. He's the Attorney General for Montana, Austin Knudsen. Sir, thank you very much for getting up so early out in Helena. Thank you, sir.
Happy to do it. Thanks.
You bet.